BookTube, it's Louise the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you are well. Hope you are having a good day. Long time no see. Where have you been? What have you been up to? I know it's me that's not been around. You've been there. And I've had some very nice messages from people saying, how are you doing? How's the move going? Well, the move's gone. Yes, we are in a different house now. We're in another village. We're still in the same parish, but we're about 5 miles away from where I used to live. In a lovely house. I'm really happy with the house, really happy with the move. We had the moment where we couldn't get the, that we were informed by the removal men that they couldn't get the sofa into the lounge. It was stuck in the kitchen. Looked like we were going to be uncomfortably sat in the kitchen, comfortably sat in the garden, but not able to sit down in the lounge. There was that moment. However, the husband launched into action and took the doors off the hinges. And all was well. And then we had the fun of trying to put the doors back on the hinges. But let's not dwell on that moment. Apart from that, it all went swimmingly. There are still boxes. You can't see, but there are still boxes down there. There are still boxes in, I think, every single room. But that's okay. That's okay. They will be unpacked, and if they're not unpacked, we don't need that stuff, and then it can go. You'll be happy to know, I think I've unpacked about 90% of my books. There are still books in the garage, and I'm not sure I'm going to have room for all of my books at the moment. But yes, I've started to sort them out. They're not on the right shelves though. I do sit there and go, oh, it's not completely organised how I like it, and it does really unsettle me. But I will get there. I will get it. Hooray! I have moved and I don't have to think about it anymore. The other thing I'd like to say is it's actually Tuesday the 23rd of May today, and we woke up to the news that there had been a bombing in Manchester last night. 22 people have died, including a lot of young people. 59 young people and adults are dealing with their injuries now. It was in Manchester, just outside Manchester Arena, after a concert. I'm from Manchester stock. My family are Manchester born and bred. Even though you can't tell from my accent, I consider myself a Manchester lass, and it's been a devastating day. But listening, and my heart goes out to everybody that has been involved in it. Not only the people that have been physically affected by it, but the other people that were there and will have the shock of it and the ramifications of it, and the people that went to the scene and did the most amazing things in helping people. Listening to the stories, it's inspired me, because it's shown me in a time of devastation and time of horror how amazing people are, how the depth of love, the unselfish acts that you just think, oh. So even in a moment of utter heartbreak and devastation, we can remember how amazing people are and how the depths of love in the humanity that we have and that we share together, and that we are all connected. Even though we appear so separate, we are all connected. And so I just wanted to pay tribute to those people and to say that they are within my love today and will always be. So yes, I hope you don't mind. Just wanted to say that. Deeply affected. I mean, horrifically affected today, but you know, inspired at the same time. So yes, let's move on from that. But let's go back. What have you been up to? Have you been up to fun and amazing things? Have you been reading anything fun and amazing? What in the last fortnight has absolutely you just loved? What book have you thought recently, I just love that book? Let me show you mine. I actually just finished this about 2 days ago, but out of all the books that I have got here, this is the book that I would say I really love that. I have been doing some reading recently. It hasn't been the most literary reading, I must admit, because either I'm too tired or I just don't have the mental space because I'm too busy organising other things. But I've been I'm sorting out my to be read shelves and being inspired again to read some of those books. But this is the book. It's Noah Hawley's Before the Fall. Now, I wanted to buy this when it came out in hardback. I heard about it, or I read about it on the Book Riot, and I really fancied it then and there. But I have waited until it came out in paperback. Then I tried to order it in, but it had gone out of stock. Then I found this. I was taking some books to the tip, the dump where you go, but there is a book exchange place there. So if you can't, rather than taking them to it's kind of like a charity place, but they sell them on, or they take them to charity books to places. So you can leave your books there, but also people can pick them up free. And I found this copy, which was just untouched, there. So I was taking, we probably took 50 books that over the last couple of years we've decided to get rid of. But I was so chuffed because I saw this book, which I have wanted for the last year and have waited so patiently to find. I found it for nothing. So I felt like I did swapsies. I gave a lot of books that I no longer wanted, and I got this one, which I did really want. So this is a thriller. It's a thriller. So a private jet plunges into the sea with only 2 survivors, a man and a young boy. So I won't tell you any more than that. It starts very early on with the plane crash, and it is the aftermath. And the story flicks from people's lives, of the people in the plane, to what happens afterwards and why the plane crashed. You're unsure whether you're ever going to find that out throughout the book. And it is an amazing thriller. I'm not going to tell you any more than that because I went into it just knowing those facts, knowing that it is actually multiple POV, which I'm not that keen on, but it read like a true story. It was just superb. So people normally praise true crime or true life or memoirs by saying it read like a thriller. Well, this thriller had such a feeling of it actually happened, it's true. It just is brilliantly done. Now, Noel Hawley, who is he? He's creator of Fargo TV series, and there's an awful lot about the media, an awful lot about TV, and I can see that he is somebody in the media or understands the media. So I felt that was an angle that I hadn't read about for a while, and I really enjoyed it. I had been struggling for about a couple of days to find anything to read. I would start books, and then after 5, 10, 15 pages, I just would know that it wasn't capturing my interest. Not the book's fault, wasn't them, it was definitely me. I started this, and by page 3, I was like, sit back, I have found the book for me. So this is the book that I've really enjoyed. And if you like thrillers, I think it's going to be a big one over the summer. I do think it's going to be a big one over the summer, and you can see a lot of people reading this on holiday because it's that kind of book. It's so good. Really good, really good. So Before the Fall, Noel Hawley. So that was the book that I have read recently that really got to me. A book that I was a bit disappointed by, she rummages through her pile, is The Long Earth by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter. So in a previous video I talked about books that people go, ooh, have you read? So it got known in the comments as the ooh book, and which I really liked. And I'm going to do a video about the books that you have said to me that I should read, or have said in general that people should, what your ooh books were, because they've inspired me. And I'm going to I've got a long list of books that I am now going to pick up because what you said about them has inspired me. So this is a friend of mine's, and it's her book that she read. Ooh, have you read The Long Earth by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter? I'm a huge Sir Terry Pratchett fan, who he sadly passed away. And this is a 5-book series in conjunction with Stephen Baxter, who I haven't read before. I have read most of the Discworld and some of Sir Terry's standalones. So I am used to reading both his Discworld and his other books, so I'm very, very familiar with his tone. The problem I had with this book was it wasn't a Terry Pratchett book. There were little flashes of it, but it didn't feel like a Terry Pratchett book for me. It felt like 2 people had got together with a phenomenal idea. The phenomenal idea is that there are multiple parallel universes that you have access to with a particular device, which is very easy and cheap to make. There are some people that can also step naturally or do it by accident. And then there are other people that can use a very simple to make device to step either east or west. So you can either go step to West 1, West 2, West 3, or East 1, East 2, East 3. And you step into a different Earth. So, a phenomenal idea, and what that would do to people when suddenly we have an abundance of natural resources, because it becomes a land of plenty, because you can just step and nothing's going to run out. It's only civilization. It's how do you take your civilization with you, and how it would, how people would cope with this sudden ability. So it was a phenomenal idea. I absolutely loved the idea of it and captivated. The problem I had was the execution of it. It felt very one-paced. It just went along. There was amazing things happening, and yet I felt no urgency. I felt no kind of desire to carry on reading. It just was the way it was. It was multiple perspective, and it flicked to me. Now when I read very, very fast. Not only that I read a lot of books, but I actually physically read very, very quickly. And I find that if it's multiple POV, I don't spend enough time with people to start caring about them. And the two main protagonists in this, I really didn't care about. There wasn't enough of them. There wasn't enough description of them. I didn't have enough feeling towards them to really care about it. And it's 420 odd pages, and it's quite hard to carry on reading all the way through. The idea itself was stunning. But what kept me going the most out of this was, why did my friend, my beloved friend, want me to read it? And it's like, what is it about it that makes her go, oh, have you read The Long Earth? So next time I see her, I'm going to say to her, well, okay, I've read it. It didn't thrill me as much as it thrilled you. But what is it? So I'm so glad I've read it for that alone, because I will have a good old book chat with her about it, and she can explain to me what it is that I'm missing. And I'm quite open to the fact that I'm missing something. Perhaps I've just read too quickly, and I've not become invested in the characters, where if I'd given it more time I might have done. But I don't know. So that was a bit of a disappointment. A book that I went into it knowing exactly what I was going to get, and I got exactly what I was going to get, is the second in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. So I haven't shown you this. I haven't hauled it. Look, I bought this. Look, I read this. So this is called Love Returnal. It's the second in a paranormal romance featuring vampires. The old bitey lot. And it's quite a saucy little number, and I wanted a saucy little number, and that's what I got. I didn't love the male protagonists as much in this one. The first one, which is called Dark Lover, I really actually liked the male protagonist, even though he's kind of, you know, bitey. I thought he was quite, I kind of got into it. I didn't feel quite as much, but the story ticked along really well. It's not a series you can dip in and out of. You have to read it in order. So I at some point will pick up the next one, which is called, it says here, Lover Revealed, which is exciting. So at some point I will pick this up, and I'm going to carry on mooching through this series. They're a wonderful fast read that you just kind of read, and it's all about nibbling and biting, and it's fun. It's a fun read. So that's exactly what I knew what I wanted. J.R. Ward said, settle in for the ride, sweetie. So that was good. A book I had been looking forward to, this is probably going to be my last book. Oh, I have to do another video. A book I have been looking forward to for about a year, and I pre-ordered. And it came, and then I couldn't read it because I was so nervous that actually it wasn't going to be good enough. But then I have read it. Is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I enjoyed the first in this trilogy, which is A Court of Thorn and Roses. I thought it was okay. I did enjoy it. It didn't completely, wow me, but I liked it. It's set in a fey universe, and it is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. So the second one in it, which is A Court of Mist and Fury, I loved. I just thought it, they're new adult, are they new adult, or is it adult paranormal romance, sci-fi, fantasy, not sci-fi, fantasy. And it was Hades and Persephone is the second book. It was a retelling, and it had a definite following of that arc. And I just thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I have read it multiple times since then, and it just is such a good comfort read for me now, and I really enjoyed it. And I was really wondering where they were going to go with this last book. I can't go into details about it because, of course, if you haven't read the first two, then there's just all the spoilers. This is the last book in the trilogy. I think it suffers because it is the last book in the trilogy, and there's an awful lot of wrapping up that has to go on. I know one or two people have said it should have been split into 2 books so that it could have been longer, because this is 700 and... No, it's not 700. It's about 700 pages long as a paperback. And... you know, you kind of felt, well, it could have been longer because it was a bit rushed towards the end because how much she wanted to wrap up. But I am quite glad that she has done it. I feel that the biggest problem is that the series has been way more successful than she ever anticipated. Obviously hoped for. But the first one had a definite idea of Beauty and the Beast. The second one had a definite idea of Hades and Persephone. The third one didn't. It didn't have that structure for her to expand into. She had work to do in it, in the fact that she had Sarah had to wrap everything up with characters that she had established. And I think that's the biggest problem with this book, is that they were established and much beloved characters, and she had to wrap it up. There are going to be companion novels set in this universe, which will be brilliant. And I think, again, if she can find a way to actually use either fairy tales or myths and can structure the story around it, I think that is where it will be good. I think the problem is it was too successful, and so she couldn't just almost follow her plan. She had to kind of write for everybody else in some ways. But anyway, I still really enjoyed it. It's one of those books that I could fly through, and it's not become my favourite in the series. It will always be a Court of Mist and Fury for that, but I did really enjoy it. So yes, I recommend the series. I do recommend the series. So yes, so I read that. So that's all I'm going to tell you about today. So that's just a really kind of measly little selection of books that I have read. I have read a lot more than that, but I've been rambling on because it's been you and I've been come back and I'm all excited and I can't remember how we do this. So BookTube, I look forward to coming back in a couple of days probably and catching you up with some more books. I've also been buying some books. Along the way, I have been buying some books. So I'll show you those as well. And I want to do some tags. I have all these ideas. And now that I've moved, I actually have the time. I can take time out of my day and catch up with you. I've got loads of parish notices. They're all up in the kitchen, ready for me to tell you about them. So all the cats come in and scratch the sofa. Much love, BookTube. Lovely to see you again. Let's do this again. Bye.